Hi, this is Daniel Grove with a long overdue product review video. About 2 weeks ago, my beloved 100mm macro f2.8 lens finally died. About 2 years ago, it stopped focusing as close as it could. I could still use it, still did macros, but it wasn't doing great. And then about a year ago, it started making really bad whirring and whining noises while focusing. And then finally last week, it wouldn't focus at all. In fact, even in manual mode, I can't even twist it. So something mechanical just snapped inside. I looked it up today and I discovered that that lens came out in 1990. That's older than my wife, which is not that old, but still, for a lens, pretty impressive. It lasted 20, 31 years. Wow. Do they make them like they used to? I don't know. So this is the old one, and in fact it was so old, the rubber band or whatever, the grippy piece, has just kind of lost its tension, and it was so loose it annoyed me, so I just took it off. So it doesn't even have the grippy piece on here. There's a little crack here. I bought it used from an older gentleman who was retiring from Canon, and it was a sweet deal. I love this lens. I think every photographer should have a 100mm lens, and I'll get to why in just a minute. So this is the new one, which is actually version 2. So the one that I had is the old version from 1990. Version 2, which has USM, stands for ultrasonic motor. It's just a different motor type inside that helps it focus faster and quieter. In fact, a lot of newer lenses have that. It's great. This one came out, I think, in 2000. The new version, which is version 3, I think it came out in 2009. It actually has image stabilization, which has a moving motorized piece of glass at the end inside here that will jiggle counter to your own movements. So it'll basically stabilize your shake, which is pretty cool. But the price tag is also pretty cool. It's over $1,000, and I didn't feel like getting that. So version 2 is doing me good so far. It costs just around $600 bought used, and it's a great lens. So here's why I love it. Because I don't want to have a 70 to 200 2.8 lens. It's an amazing lens, and I do weddings and events, and there's half the time where I wish I had that big huge lens. The other half, I'm glad I don't, because it's just not portable. It's not easy to swap. I only have one full, current mirrorless full frame camera. I don't have multiple bodies for multiple lenses, and I don't want to be swapping that 70 to 200. That's just risky, time consuming, and it's not quick. I'll miss shots. I can switch this lens, my 50 and my 20, really quick, and I can, not miss shots. So I rely on my 100mm lens for those far away or zoomed in shots. Even though the lens is a prime lens, which means it cannot zoom in and out, I do use that for shots when I'm far away and I want to look like I'm close up. Such as at weddings. If I'm in the back aisle or behind the back aisle at a wedding during the ceremony, I can still get a full body shot. I might even have to back up to get a full body shot, which is good. But usually you want to get in tight, the ring, putting on the ring, them crying, them saying their vows, whatever. It's a really good lens for faraway shots, but it's also a macro lens. So let's talk about that. Macro means that the glass pieces in the lens allow it to focus very close to the end of the lens. This lens can focus 0.3 meters, which is basically 1 foot, 12 inches. And honestly, I feel like it's closer than that, but the numbers are the numbers. And I can do ring shots really close to my lens. I can focus on flowers, eyeballs. It's really good for headshots. Anything that's tight like that, really close up, it's excellent, and I love that. There's actually a switch on the lens. You may have this on your lens if you have a macro, or some other lenses have this. It's a limit or a focus range switch, I think it might be called. And there's basically two options. I can switch it to, I think it's like 0.4 meters or 0.3 meters. And basically what that means at 0.4, it's going to focus from 0.4, or which I don't know what that is, like 14, 16 inches, and to infinity, which is out, into the horizon. Or if I switch the other one, it'll allow it to focus all the way close as it can, which I think takes some extra time. So if you're shooting stuff far away, if you're not close up within maybe like 10 feet of something, just do the longer option so it will focus faster. If you are shooting macro, then definitely switch it to the smaller number there. So that's what that switch is for on the side. Now the f2.8 part I love because at events, they usually don't have great lighting. And this allows me to shoot wider open, to get more light in, to get a better exposure without having to compromise as much on shutter speed or ISO. So f2.8 is an awesome f-stop for most lenses, and I really enjoy being able to shoot at that. I do have another lens that is 24mm all the way up to 105 millimeters, but the f-stop is really where it kicks me in the butt. It's f4 at 24mm, and as I zoom in to 105 millimeters, it stops all the way down to f7.1, which is kind of a deal breaker if you're at a dark or dim venue or shooting in the evening. It's just not great. So I love my prime. All my three lenses that I use and rotate while I'm shooting, my 50, my 20, and my 100, they're all primes. That's just what I've gotten used to. They're lighter weight. they're usually less expensive, and they have large apertures. So again, why do I think every photographer should have one of these? Well, about 3 reasons. First of all, it's lighter than a traditional zoom lens, a 70 to 200, or what are the other ones, 75 to 150, something like that. It's lighter than that, it's smaller than that. You can put it in a lens pouch, it's very portable, whip it out, put it on easily. The second reason is f2.8, which is great for dim or darker settings. The third reason is it's macro. That's awesome. You don't have to shoot macro, but if you want to shoot, you can. Other lenses, you're out of luck. You can't focus closer than, I don't know what it is, maybe like 2 or 3 feet, and then you hit that limit, you can't get any closer, it will not focus any closer no matter how hard you try, you just can't, because they're not macro lenses, they're not made for that. But these are. So macro is really fun for a number of things. Oh, I forgot to mention this earlier, I use this for solo portraits a lot. If I'm doing a professional headshot and I want it to look tight and compressed, blurry background, really flattering face shape, I go with my 100 because it has that compression effect where longer focal lengths make the background basically enlarged but also more blurry. A wider angle lens will do the opposite. It will shrink the background where you can see more background behind them, and it's less blurry. So the opposite, which is 100, zoomed in, closer, 100 or 200 of course is even better, but 100 is a great portrait range. I can probably be, 15 feet away and get like a sternum up headshot, and it's got great compression, good face shape because there's barely any noticeable lens distortion, and the bokeh is awesome behind them, especially if the background is farther away. It really gets that creamy orby look behind you. So if that's what you're going for, if you need a quick and lightweight lens for events, if you want to be far away and getting tight, you want 2.8, you want compression or macro, 100 is kind of a workhorse. It does a lot of things for me, and I really enjoy it. So if you have any questions about this 100mm lens, let me know. If you have it and love it, comment down below and let me know as well. Thanks for watching. Have a great week.